Screen now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're going to start. Okay. So we should be at the beginning. There we go. All right. So first, thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time today. I am D. Freeman. So today we're going to be talking about your personal digital transformation. And as part of the building the mindset, tools, and techniques to succeed now and beyond COVID-19. So the things I put together, I call it tools to get ahead in life faster. And we're going to go through some of those things right now. So our agenda for today is just first, welcome. Thank you for being here. I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. Some of you haven't talked to me in a lot of years, some maybe just a few weeks ago, but many of you just may not know some of the background. So I'll give you a little bit of the background. I will talk about what is digital transformation and why should you care about it? What's happening in the job market and what should you be doing to prepare? What things are going on that you should be doing differently to thrive in the new normal? There's some changes we're going to need to make to be able to thrive in the new normal that's coming out of this COVID world that we're living in. And it has a lot to do with the way we learn, our economics, our health, and our community. And at the end, we're going to have some Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can jump in between then, and we'll definitely have a section at the end for it. So let's dive right in. So who is this person? Who is D. Freeman? So me from Fort Worth, Texas, now living in Los Angeles. My wife, Tahani, is on here now. Thank you for being here too. Been married for 23 years. Had our anniversary just last week. Our dog Spency is probably around here somewhere too. So for about 23 years, I've been working in software development, program management, behavioral science, and organizational development. I've had a lot of jobs, like more than 20 different jobs, all with increasing positions and pay. You would consider myself a serial entrepreneur. What that means is I launch a lot of businesses. I try different things. Launched over 30 businesses, and including 2 S corporations and 2 limited liability corporations. We've lived in 2 countries, 4 states, 14 different cities, traveled US, Europe, the Caribbean. I currently work as an executive for a business agility coaching company. We serve clients around the globe. I do a lot of that from here in my home office. Also a published author of a self-help book, and I've made a lot of custom training modules that are used in corporations globally. So there's a couple of certifications there. Not going through all of these, but just a brief view of my resume and some of the places I have either consulted or worked, and the things that I've done for them. So I've been able to serve some pretty big companies in US and abroad. And then also some of the businesses I've started, of course, most recent at the top with the D. Freeman model. Before then, I was CEO of People Coach and some other partnerships that I've ran. And just over the past 25 years, there's a lot of different endeavors that I've started. Some have been really successful. Some have just been learning opportunities that helped us get somewhere else. So on to our thing for today. Our topic is digital transformation. Now, what is digital transformation? So digital transformation is using technology to create new ways of doing business and new ways of working. So when you think about that, what you see sometime in the stores that you go in, you notice self-checkout, there's online bill pay, paperless office, and got these self-service apps that you need to do on your phone to conduct business. So companies are changing over to a digital mindset and a digital way of conducting business with consumers. So almost every company on the planet is doing some type of digital transformation. And why is that? And a lot of it is customer demands, is we demand it. As consumers, when we want something, we want it now. When you go to a website, you got about 5 seconds before you start getting antsy. Like, I don't know if this is going to even work or not. After 10 seconds, you're really pushing the button 3 or 4 more times. So consumers, we are demanding more. So that puts a big demand on companies to make sure we have the speed, the technology. With all of us being trapped at home right now, there's a big thing for new entertainment or touchless payment. So every company is doing something to make a change. There's others that are not as fortunate, so they're doing cost cutting, staff reduction. You know, a downside of digital transformation is that about 30% of all jobs will become digital. So just like the examples above, those used to be jobs of different people who were on all of those checkout lines. Now it's one person and it's self-checkout. There used to be people that take a lot of orders, but now you can do most of it online and you don't need as many employees to do that. So we would need to transform the way we think and the way that we integrate into this society, because things are changing at such a rapid pace that we don't want to get left behind. Another big thing that's causing a change right now is COVID-19 response and the work from home model. Like myself, I used to travel every week, going to different places back and forth, seeing my clients, but now I do it all from here, right here in this office. And most companies are changing to that type of thing. So what do we need to be doing to stay connected? And when we have to stay apart, you know, how do we stay connected when we have to stay apart? So look, the thing that we have to do is we have to change. We really have to think about how we change, and the world around us is changing so quickly. So how do we keep up? You look at the images here with cell phones. You know, we all started somewhere in this slide. Personally, I started way on the left. My dad's first cell phone was the one on the left, and I think my first one was the second one there, and just moved down until, you know, here on the right. But just like our phones have changed, we have to change as well. There's no way that you can stay back on the third or fourth phone. They just don't work anymore. They don't do what is necessary to get the job done in today's society. So we have to do a few things differently. Just like we've had to adapt and adjust to new technology and the changes that are happening in the world, we have to change a few things. We have to change how we make money, how we use money, how we work, how we conduct business, how we learn, how we store data, how we connect with people, how we stay mentally and physically healthy. And one of the most important ones, a big one that's on this list, is how we end racism. So what do we have to change? There's some challenges that we have to take in order to start turning the ship. I use that analogy of turning the ship because this is a big problem. This is a big problem that's existed for a long time in our society. So it's not something that we can just change in a few days or even just a few years. It's going to take a lot of small efforts to be able to turn the ship around. So the learning challenges that we have to take on is, how do we develop a learning aptitude? I call it the DALA principle. Developing a learning aptitude means not settling for whatever education that you've received, but continuously educating yourself in new things that benefit you. That's going to be the norm in the society going forward, is self-education and continuous education. So how we learn with others. There are a lot of ways to learn things and to be able to increase your credential, your value, that are low cost, very low cost, and they require not as much outside effort from you, meaning that you can engage in some things that help you learn that don't cost much. LinkedIn Learning has a great program, and it's anywhere from $20 to $30 a month. And basically, it's online training you can take anytime you want from any device. And they're accredited because it demonstrates on LinkedIn that you have completed that class. So when you apply for positions or when people are looking at your profile, they can see what things that you have learned and what things that you have, what classes that you have taken. And it looks a lot more favorable on your profile when it shows that you're taking initiative to learn new things. edX.org is a great one. That's another great one to check out. With edX.org, it's Ivy League universities that have put curriculum online. They have instructors that teach online, and they have bachelor's degree programs that are $500. So it's called a micro bachelor's program. So it teaches a lot of information that a person normally wouldn't get, and it teaches it from the perspective of a university that people normally wouldn't be able to afford to go to. So I've taken classes at edX.org and been able to have classes from MIT and from Harvard. I would have never been able to go to those classes, those schools, but to be able to interact with the professors and have that ability to go through those classes on my own, it benefited me and helped me to accelerate in my life. Coursera is another good one to check out. It's another online program for going through learning programs independently. Some of the things you can do for independent learning that have really helped me a lot, and I think that will be good for you, is in YouTube. YouTube is just a plethora of information for learning how to do anything new. Whenever I want to learn how to do something new, my first place I go to is just YouTube, and I'll type in, whatever it is, how to invest in the stock market, how to buy a home, how to change a toner in a printer, whatever it is. And I can usually get some kind of video or something that at least helps me to start understanding what it is. So we have to generate that curiosity. Part of developing a learning aptitude is having curiosity and just wondering how to learn something that you didn't know before. Some other independent learning programs, Udemy, audible.com. If you don't have a lot of time for reading books, then one thing I use is my car time. If I'm traveling in the car, or if I'm, otherwise listening to music, if I got my headphones on, I'll listen to an audiobook. And you'll find that you will learn the same as you would if you were reading the real book. Think about it like this. If you listen to music and you hear the song over and over, after a few times of hearing that song, you're going to remember the words. You're going to remember the melody. It's going to be stuck in your head. So the same applies when you're listening to an audiobook. You're hearing the information and it's going into your subconscious, and you'll remember that information just as if you were reading the book. So I try to go through at least one audiobook a month, and that subscription is like $14.95 to have an audible.com subscription. But it's a good way to build your expertise in things that you didn't know how to do before. It's Kindle, iBooks, digital reading apps, all very powerful and useful in this time frame. How we stay motivated is part of the learning aptitude that we need to develop. Staying motivated is not something that's easy, because you need to get some perspectives of other people who are doing things that maybe you're not familiar with. Podcasts are great for that. I'm looking to start a podcast that'll be available in this channel actually within the next month. TED Talks are great for that. If you want to go to tedtalks.org or download the TED Talks app, there's ideas worth spreading. It's a good way to just get some inspiration of things that people are thinking about that will change the world in a different way. How we do research is different when you're developing a learning aptitude. You have to do some fact checking using Snopes.com or newspapers or Seeking Alpha for stock news. Multiple sources are better for information versus one source. You hear people say sometimes that they get all their news from CNN or all their information from Fox News or whoever. But have a various amount of sources that you pull your information from. It gives you a wider and deeper perspective of things when you have multiple points of view of information, especially things that are financial news, political news. You want different sources so it doesn't sway your motivation or attention in one way or another, but you're more independent thinking and able to stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish. Let me pause for a second. We'll see if there's any questions and anything before I keep going further. Okay. So we keep going. So some of those, I just took a few snippets of those online resources, but I will make this presentation available with all the links that are in there. And also within the group, I'll be posting out some links to these. And if I find discount codes or anything else that's available, I'll also post that in. Another challenge is the money challenge. So how we make money. This is a big thing. We have to start to think more like capitalists versus consumerists. Some big words. I put some definitions here at the bottom. You know, capitalist is a person who uses money to invest in trade and industry for profit. Consumerist is a person who gives too much attention to buying and owning things that are not necessarily necessary or not necessary. So part of the mindset change is how do we become more capitalist driven versus consumerist driven, meaning that there's people who think I will shop with you, I will work for you, but I won't own a piece of you. And you know, you think about Walmart or Target. Most, you know, we say I'll work there or I'll shop there, but when we talk about owning Target stock, there's very few people who own pieces of the company. So the capitalist mindset thinks about, wow, this store seems to be doing really well during this time. How can I own a part of it and take part in that growth that they're having? Versus, I see a lot of people here shopping, I need to go and shop too. So changing that mindset will help us to solve the money challenge. During this time frame, it is important to create a digital source of income. And that is via stocks, options, cryptocurrency. As you're moving through this post-COVID or mid-COVID, wherever we are in this time frame, look for ways to make money that you can do from home that doesn't require you to go out or do anything outside of your home, that you can build another source of income right here in the house. E-Trade is, of course, a broker platform. It's going to require more learning to be able to use an E-Trade. But things like Robinhood, most of us have heard of it. It's a lot of tutorials and fractional shares that you can buy on Robinhood. It's easy for the average person to get in and become an investor very quickly without a whole lot of training and information. Where can you get more information on that? Of course, YouTube or any of those other sources that are in here of how you can use this as a circle of information to continuously educate yourself on these methods. Fidelity, Bitcoin is a little bit more advanced, but there is definitely money to be made in Bitcoin right now and in the future. So another way that we look into solving the money challenge is freelancing. Freelancing, it's working for yourself, but remotely. Check out some of these sites at Fiverr.com, Fiverr with 2 R's, or freelancer.com or Upwork. Each of these have where you can create a profile that is basically your online store. It's your online shop of what do you provide. So for example, whenever I need a logo made, like the logo that you see in this bottom right corner, I went to Fiverr.com and I found someone there who's a logo designer. It's just somebody who has an independent company, his own work that he learned how to do on his own, and he promotes the work that he does. And I paid him to build me a logo, to design it, to do all the digital editing so I can move it in and out of different programs. And you know, he's making money off of doing that. That's his business. So what I'm promoting is that we should seek to have a business that you can run from home. You know, something like that. You can learn a skill that you can offer to someone digitally or remotely and become a freelancer. So it doesn't have to become necessarily a full-time job. It's something that you can do on the side, but learn how to create income independently. Another big part of the money challenge that we have is how we use money. So we all hear the rumors about cash going away, and we see that sometimes there isn't change in places. So it doesn't mean the money is going away. I know the Federal Reserve does pull back a lot of cash in times like this, but in order to continue to do business, we have to be able to use money in ways that are appropriate to the times. So most of us already have a Cash App or Zelle or one thing with your bank that you can do an online payment, PayPal or a SoFi money account. You need some kind of way that you can be able to receive and make payments in this current time frame that we're living in. How we manage money, this is so important. We need to be able to have tools that manage our money better. It's one thing to tell people to jump into the stock market, but that may be too advanced. Sometimes people are at a different place in their life. They're at a different place in their finances. So jumping into the stock market may not be the most appropriate thing right now. Sometimes it is just getting a better handle on your money and being able to understand when and where your money is going. Once I did this years ago, this really changed my life. I sat down and built a forecast of my money on a calendar. And just like this little image you can see down here, I put in to show how much money was in on a particular day of the week, all the way until a payday. So that way I could forecast whenever money was going out, and I could see when I was going to be short. So that way I could manage my money in a way that I never went under or never had NSF fees and all that kind of stuff that happens to people. These things are detrimental to all of your other investments if you are not managing your day-to-day money to the dime of knowing exactly where your money is going and when you're going to have more to replace it. It's like this red box here showing Thursday. If you go out and spend $300 on Thursday, it's going to be a challenge because there's not more money coming in until Friday, right? So it's just people should have a system that does that. Pocketsmith.com is a great one. It has a forecasting tool that you can forecast months, even years out in the future. I do this. I can see on my forecast what I'm going to spend for Thanksgiving dinner already. So it's good to have a system that'll budget out that far in advance. Pocketsmith is free if you have just a few accounts in there. If you want more than 8 accounts, I think it's $14 or $19.95 a month. The work challenge. Work challenge is working from home and reshaping our skills. So in this post-COVID world, those that are still able to work and work from home, this might go on for a while. We're not really in a position where we can wait this out. So if your job has been impacted, if your company has instigated a temporary work from home order, it's probably going to last for a while. Companies are starting to see that it's less expensive to have employees at home than to run those big offices, run those ACs all day, pay those big office leases, the insurance for everyone being in those buildings. It's a lot cheaper and a lot more advantageous for companies to just not have a building or to only have partial office staff in the building. So working from home is going to become the normal. It's close there now, but it's going to become the normal. So what should we be doing to prepare for that? We need to set up a professional work from home environment. It's not enough to just be at the kitchen table or with a pillow and a laptop in the bed. That's okay for temporary, but this could go on till 2022, that we could still be, or even beyond. It could just be the new normal. So we need to be sure you have a personal laptop. There's some investments that you're going to need to make in yourself in order to prepare for this new world. You need some extra monitors. And in this, I wish I could show you the other side of this room, but there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 screens around me, and there's information I'm moving back and forth between all of these screens. We need a good chair to work in, and the lighting, the cameras, the microphones, things that make your environment more appealing. Think about interviews. When companies interview now, they're also going to be interviewing your environment. Because, for instance, if you're doing a customer service job, or you're going to be meeting their customers face to face, they want to see, what does it look like around you? There are some virtual tools that you can use to mimic your background, but it shows more humanity to just be open and kind of invite people into your space, but make it a controlled space. So that last bullet there about staging your environment, your work from home environment is more of a stage than it is just your house. So this room is set up specifically to look like home, but also to have some things that are on display. If people have questions, or if they want to discuss anything in my background or in my room, that's fine, because it's there for that reason. It's purposely staged for that. Depending on the type of people I'm talking to or the type of meeting I'm having, I may change what's in my background to be more appropriate for that meeting. Okay. So dress for work at home. Also, one of the challenges of working from home is that it can get kind of boring, I guess, because you will get trapped between always working and not knowing where the line is between being off work and on work. So dress for work and then dress for home. So even though I'm at home all day, when I'm working, I'm dressed for work. And when I stop working, I change clothes. So I mentally move into a different space of being off work. Let's talk about reshaping your skills. Something that companies are doing that is really helping is they are changing the way employees do their jobs. So what that means is it is no longer appropriate to just be an expert in one thing. That just no longer flies. Why? Because so many companies are cutting back. And when they cut back, they are cutting back people who have one single skill. When they also cut back, they're also looking at generalists, people who have are capable in a lot of things, but not really an expert in any. I mean, you're kind of good, but you're not really an expert in any. You know, those two, they have the X on them in the diagram here. Employees who find themselves in those two spaces are going to find themselves moving out of a job at some point, because employees are looking for more T-shaped skills. So what does T-shaped skills mean? T-shaped skills mean you're capable of a lot of things, but an expert in at least one. So the width, the left to right, is the empathy or ability to collaborate across multiple disciplines. So you can work in different areas. You can pitch in different parts of the company because you have skills in different areas besides just one. But that one skill that you have needs to be your expertise that you are really good at. Okay? So I can do training, but I can also do some sales. I can do coaching, but I can also make presentations. So you want to have multiple skills or T-shaped skills and be able to promote that to employers as you're looking for jobs in this new world, new economy that we're in. Because that's the type of people they're going to be looking for. Those two on the left are going to find themselves struggling to find work. Let's talk about the business challenge. Before I go further, let me pause for a second, see if there's any questions.
No.
Okay, thank you. It's still good. All right, so the business challenge, how we collaborate. So in the business arena, there's a lot of different ways that we get together. Okay, So we collaborate, we meet, we connect, we store stuff, but there's different tools that enable all of those things to happen. How we collaborate, quick chats, Slack, Discord, Facebook groups are just great ways to have quick chats with people. When you have a team and there's people that you're working with to try to solve a challenge, you're gonna need to have some more structured meetings. So like what we're on here on a Zoom meeting, you know, we can meet via this in a one-to-one setting, or we can do this in a group. We can have up to 50 or 100 people in the same group. Microsoft Teams will do the same, or GoToMeeting or Skype. Part of the business challenge is that we need to have at least one tool in our arsenal that we can connect with people in a meeting. We need to have at least one tool in our arsenal that we can build a small group around, that we can have a Slack channel or a Facebook group to have some quick chats. How we connect or stay in sync, people need to have a calendar. You've got to have a calendar in this time frame. With all of us being disconnected, the way that we stay in sync is by having a calendar system that reminds you of what time something starts or ends. It doesn't mean that you need to run your entire life by the calendar, but if someone sends you an invite, that you should be able to have a calendar that you use on your phone or your computer that just keeps you in sync of what priorities that you have. If you have appointments or anything that want to integrate in with your business, it should be on your calendar. Connecting also for projects, you can use something like Trello, Trello.com or Asana.com. Great tools for building a small team around a project. They're really simple. I've seen people use this with kids. They'll build a Trello board that may just have all of their chores on one side that'll show to do, and each person can put their name on it and what their chores are to do. And it has a doing column that say if it's this person's time to clean the kitchen or whatever, they move that into doing. And then when something is done, they move it into done. It sends over emails or confirmations to other people on the team and lets them know when things are done. I've seen parents use it when they're out and they want to see when their kids are getting the chores done, and the kids are like updating the board of, you know, checking off the things that they've completed. Employees or team members do the same, of just checking off things on a team Trello board. Asana is just another tool like that, but it has some of the same capabilities, but it's also online team management. How we store stuff. Gonna need to have some type of online storage or cloud storage. We always hear about the cloud. What is the cloud? It's just a series of servers that stores your information and makes it accessible to you from any device. So Dropbox or OneDrive are good examples of, you know, how you keep pictures or audio or data files, whatever you have. It's good to have some type of online storage space, because just where we're headed to, things are becoming more paperless in business. So things will need to become more paperless in your personal life as well. All right, health challenge. So while we're in this mode, things that we can do to stay mentally healthy, physically healthy, and how we break and create new habits. On the mentally healthy side, I found a lot of different apps. One I use in particular is a Calm app. And what it does, it has different affirmations and sounds. And what I really like about it is there's meditations and things that you can go and listen to, breathing exercises. It's something I start the day with in the morning that just kind of helps me find a place of centeredness and peace. So before I start the day, I try to open my Calm app and go through just a few breathing exercises. It's a good way to stay mentally calm and prepared for the day. Of course, daily meditation or prayer. Build a morning, day, and evening routine. You know, start out the day with a journal. I keep a lot of notepads by, always taking notes, especially first thing in the morning, of just get information out of your head. Make a signboard or something that keeps track of what do you want to accomplish for the day. What's your goals that you're trying to complete for the day? This way you can get that brain rush of when you can check things off your list or move them across on your board and feel that you're completing something. Get a pet, dog, cat, whatever is great for what we, oops, got a message coming. Get a dog or a cat or bird or something, because right now people are in and they're needing some type of camaraderie. And sometimes you may not be able to get that from another person, but just having something there to love and keep you kind of company is good to keep a healthy mentality. Post, share, chat, comment in social media. I'm probably sharing more than I've ever shared in my life on social media, but it's part of being stuck inside that you want to be connected to people. Okay? And it's always great to consider a mental health provider or a professional, or even a personal coach that can just help you get through some challenging times right now. It's easy to go onto Google and look for a health provider or a coach, or even just reach out to somebody that you know and ask them if they will you mentor me or will you coach me? And that person can help hold you accountable to your own goals and really help you get through some tough times. How we stay physically healthy? Using some of these tools. There are Zoom exercise classes. There are IG and Facebook exercise groups. There's YouTube. And I watch some YouTube videos that have yoga on. It's free. So I would start those sometimes in the morning and do yoga before I start my work in the mornings. So just find some ways to stay physically healthy using digital tools. This is part of a digital transformation that would occur personally. Every day, walk, jog, do yoga, get outside. Don't forget doctor visits via telemedicine. Cook at home. A lot of us are saving a lot of money right now because we're not able to go out and eat and spend money at restaurants. So cooking at home is going to help you stay more physically healthy. There's a lot of online recipes and people who are having cooking shows that are not just the HGTV, but just local people who are doing Facebook or IG cooking shows. So it's good to use that. I've started posting my own little cooking shows. You'll see my daily posts where I have things that I made for the day or the week. So it's kind of fun to do that. Part of the health challenge is breaking and making new habits. And I'm conscious of the time. I see we're at 18 after the hour. So I'm gonna be sure that we close on time today and get to any questions. So I'm breaking and creating new habits. There's 3 books I definitely recommend. I posted these once, but I'll surely post them again. But the 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins is outstanding for breaking and creating new habits. It's something I have to use every day to kind of push myself out of bed and to keep going with what I do. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg and The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle are excellent for getting through tough times when you're at home and not able to go out and interact with people as much as you like. These are some good books to help you to think about new habits and create new habits in your psyche. One of my favorite people, and she just has so many outstanding quotes, Michelle Obama. So I won't read through all of these, but just like to keep them on the screen just for a second. But at the very bottom, she says, don't be afraid, be focused, be determined, be empowered. Empower yourself with a good education and get out there and use that education to build a country worthy of your boundless promise. Lead by example, with hope, never fear. So I really like that one, especially because something else that we need in this time is motivation. And you having all the tools, having the techniques to do something to be successful are nothing without internal motivation. So wherever you can pull that from, bring that power forward to help you push forward. All right, 20 minutes after. Let's talk about the big one. Oh, it's the racism challenge. Oh, so I made this diagram to demonstrate, like, how do we pull beyond racism and the things associated with it. Starting here at the bottom where it's in red, racism lives in an area of bias and fear and anger. Within bias exists because of knowledge gaps. People are biased sometimes because they don't know better, or they have blind spots. A blind spot in knowledge is the same as a blind spot in the car. One person's trying to get over, another person don't see him, and both of them mad at each other because they almost had an accident. Or implicit or historical bias. It's some history or something internal that makes a person feel that way. But the racism isn't just about that. It also comes from personal experience. Maybe someone had an experience with someone of color, and they have an internal anger that is causing them to have more racism or homophobia, whatever it is. Rumor. The fear section comes from things like political differences, religious differences, news or media polarization. I mean, you can watch one thing on Fox News and one on CNN and get a completely different perspective of what's happening in the world. And both of them are completely against each other. And it just drives people so far apart. That makes fear, that makes us so cautious of each other. And all of that is the home of where racism exists. And how do we move beyond that? Well, we have to level up beyond racism. We have to level up beyond racism. The answer to that question of where do we go from here is up. And up to the first place is about forgiveness. You've seen me post this before, and I'll definitely be sending more about it. But it's understanding and identifying what the real problem is, and then finding peace. All of that comes with forgiveness. We can never move forward with a grudge or a chip on our shoulder. Next is having purpose. Purpose is personally strategizing and setting goals, writing aspiration stories. I have a section in there that you can use under our units that talks about how to write an aspiration story. Aspirations give you purpose. Like what are my goals? What do I want to accomplish? And they help you to build new habits and break old habits. So I've already provided some tools that you can use for helping to build those new habits. The very top is vision. Vision is life-changing growth. It's continuous value. It's creating continuous value and changing the world. Vision is when you have when you have a perspective beyond yourself, and you're thinking about the world in a way that it includes fairness, inclusiveness, and diversity. So this is where we're trying to head to, but there is a mental challenge that needs to take place in order for a person to reach that turning point that moves up to forgiveness and purpose and vision. So I wanted to share that. So something we should keep in mind of how do we solve the racism challenge is, first we have to remove bias, anger, and fear, and replace them with forgiveness, purpose, and vision. So we're gonna level up beyond racism in 2020. So what should I do next? Well, pick a challenge. Pick a challenge. Taking the next step in your personal digital transformation, it does require some work. It's not something that's going to be so simple that it won't require any effort on your part. It's going to require effort on your part. You're going to have to take the learning challenge. Bring in at least one new way to learn something new. Whether that's once in a while watching a YouTube video or signing up for an online class. Take the health challenge. Bring in at least one new way to stay mentally and physically healthy. Take the money challenge. Bring in at least one new way to make or use money or manage it in a different way. In the work challenge, find a new way to enhance your work from home environment, broaden your skills, T-shape your skills. And take the racism challenge, meaning take bias, anger, and fear and level up to forgiveness, purpose, and vision. At the bottom here, I got a little quote from Michael Jordan. Says, the minute you get away from fundamentals, whether it's proper technique, work ethic, or mental preparation, the bottom can fall out of your game, your schoolwork, your job, whatever you're doing. So make these things part of a fundamental routine, and we'll see continuous improvement, and we'll start to turn the ship around for people. And that's what I have to share for today. That's my time. And we are at 25 minutes after the hour. We have 5 minutes left. So I wanted to stop and ask for if any questions or feedback, and also for what topics interest you most. Because not only can I provide these type of trainings, but I have several other mentors and companies who want to provide mentors or provide information. So if there are things that you are interested in and want to learn, send me a note in the link. Subscribe to the channel. Just let me know what type of things you'd like brought to you, and I'll definitely bring that information. So let me pause here. If there's any questions that we have so far.
No.
All right. Well, cool. Well, if it's